My pappy said, son, you're gonna drive me to drinking if you won't quit driving that hot rod.
Tonight on Danny's Guitar Shop, we get to hang out with Bill Kirchen. He's plucking, he's clucking. He's the titan of the Telecaster, the king of Diesel Billy. Let's find out what makes him twang. We'll be right back.
Good food, great music, awesome vibes, and bowling too. North Bowl, strikingly different.
Philadelphia's premier concert venue. Nothing beats a show at Electric Factory. Tickets and information at electricfactory.info.
Good evening and welcome to the Tin Angel. Will you please welcome to the stage Bill Kirchen and Too Much Fun.
Bill Kirchen isn't exactly a household name in music, unless you happen to live in my household. He's been in show business for almost 5 decades. Back in the late 60s, he was a musical kid from Ann Arbor, Michigan, and he helped introduce the hippie world to hardcore country music. As a founding member of Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen, Bill Kirchen made the sound of honky-tonk country twang feel right at home on Top 40 radio with his Fender Telecaster guitar. The word twang.
The word twang, okay. Twang is the word.
Is often associated with you and your playing and your weapon of choice, the Fender Telecaster.
Now couldn't the old Fender and the gang know at the factory in Fullerton that the honk and twang, the Telecaster tone would outlast a bet one.
There's something about a Telecaster. In a way, to me, it's sort of like the bicycle of electric guitar. It's the simplest way to get from point A to point B.
Yeah, we're born at the junction of form and function.
You know, it's got a stick, it's got a plank, it's got 1 3-way switch, 2 knobs, no waiting, and you're done. And I don't know how to describe the sound, but twang, that seems to say it all. Boing.
You've been plying your trade on our nation's highways and byways for many years. Mm-hmm. Kind of at this hard-working band journeyman level. You must have some pretty great stories.
But I can't tell them.
Yeah.
Ah, dang it. No, yeah, sure. It's been great. I enjoy it. You know, I'm used to it. I don't know. In a way, I watch my audience grow old with me, which is slightly scary. But it's great. I mean, there's still people who love to hear live music and love to be in that. It's a give and take environment. And I not to overstate it, but I think it's a real precious event, you know. I mean, not precious in the careful, but it really just, I feel very fortunate to get to do it still.
There's Buck and Don, Merle and Roy, Muddy and the Iceman too, Brian, Bert, Buchanan, Danny Red, that's a red with 2 D's to you. So there's a Waylon and Keith off the top of my head, Chrissy, Cropper and the Boss. You know Johnny be good, I had one, he would, I'm in the St. Louis Telecaster. You crack a plush line case and all up in your face, you thunder and you lightning ride. And we're born at the junction of form and function. It's the hammer of the honky-tonk god. It's the hammer of the honky-tonk gods. You crack a plush light case and all up in your face. You thunder and you lightning rod. Every morning at the junction and form and function. 'Cause it's the hammer of the honky-tonk gods. But it's the hammer of the honky-tonk gods.
The thing that I always wrestle with is you guys, you and the Lost Planet Airmen were really the first band in the rock hippie world to introduce country music and steel guitar and truck driving songs to that audience. How did that happen?
Well, we just started a band, and I went out to California, and the guy who was the commander went off to teach art, and it struck me when I got there that there was a void, or at least people would buy it, would enjoy it. So I called him up and said, "Get out here." I told him, "Well, if you play outdoors in the park, girls take their clothes off," and so boom.
They hear that steel guitar, and it's...
Yeah, right. But no, we did. So they came out, and I think, as I recall, it was around December of '68 or early '69, and within a few years, we had that first album made in a couple of years, I guess, and had a hit with Hot Rod Lincoln in '72.
Which is ironic, really, because you were doing really great vocal harmonies and all kinds of interesting country tunes, originals and covers, and this Hot Rod Lincoln, which is like a novelty tune, is
Right.
the one that put you on the map.
Anytime we tried to consciously craft a hit single, it ended, I don't think so. I mean, we were a rollicking, road-ready kind of a band.
Party
Our
band.
Party band, yeah. 8 pieces on stage, traveling a bus. We were actually one of the first rock and roll bands to use a bus at that era.
The Honeysuckle Rose,
The
right?
Honeysuckle Rose, yeah. We were emulating the old country acts.
Well, Pappy said, "Son, you're gonna drive me to drinking if you won't quit driving that Hot Rod Lincoln." Well, I heard the story of the Hot Rod race with Fords and the Mercs setting the pace, and that story's true. I'm here to say I was driving the Model A. It had a Model A body made it look like a pump with a Lincoln motor that was really souped up. 8 cylinders, used them all, overdrive, it just won't stop. It had 4 living gears, a dual exhaust, had a 4-barrel car, but you could really get lost. Safety tubes, man, I ain't scared. Brakes are good, tires fair. I pulled out of San Pedro late one night. I had the moon and the stars shining bright. I was climbing up the Grapevine Hill, passing cars like they were standing still. Car passing. Sudden, the wink of an eye, Cadillac sedan passed me by. A remark was made, "That's the car for me," but in the taillight was always. Now Maurice ripped me for being behind. I said, "Man, I'm gonna make mine look and unwind." Took my foot off the gas and man alive, shoved it down into overdrive. Well, I wound it up 210, twist the speedometer off the end. My foot was glued like lead to the floor. That's all there is. There ain't no more. Everybody said I'd lost my sense. At the telephone poles looked like a picket fence. Slow down, I see spots. The lines in the road look just like that. Well, I took a corner, sideswiped the truck, crossed my fingers just for luck. Fenders was clicking on the guardrail post, and the guy behind me was white as a ghost.
We learned Hot Rod Lincoln from a Johnny Bond album. When I went back recently and listened to it, I realized that we hadn't even gotten the chord structure correct. We did a 1-4-5, and the original was 1-4-1-5. And the lick, which I thought I'd stolen directly off the album, is really quite different. And so I always say it was that's my lick, and it was originality born of incompetence.
You made it your own.
It's mine.
You know, there was smoke coming from out of the back when I started to gain on the Cadillac. I knew it could catch a man, I thought I could pass. You know, by then I'd be low on gas. Flame was coming from out of the side. You could feel the tension. Man, what a ride. I said, "Boys, I got a license to fly." The caddy pulled over. "Let me by." Semi-trucks pulled over. "Let me by." VW bus full of hippies. "Oh, I'm from Michigan." The Edmund Fitzgerald pulled over. should pull over and let us by, ladies and gentlemen, but the late, great Johnny Cash. Followed by Dwayne Eddy and all the rebel rousers. Roy Orbison pulled over. He let me by. Johnny Rivers. Buddy Holly. Carl Perkins. Marty Robbins. Buck Owens.
First, when we started in like 71, when we first got signed to Paramount Records, Dot had a countryside. Dot was a subsidiary of Paramount. And we would do what was called the DJ's Convention, which eventually merged with something else and became Fanfare. But they would make fun of us as they introduced, like, these fellers here, if they really are fellers, oh, you know. We're like, whatever. But we were playing hard country, which at the time, it was starting to slip. I mean, country was starting to get into that countrypolitan. So a lot of people were glad to hear it. We'd do Diggy Diggy Low and some really blood and guts country ballads. Eventually, our flirtation with country music kind of hit the wall on our third album because we put out a song on there called Everybody's Doing It Now.
Everybody dancing, trucking, everybody swinging. Everybody's doing it now.
And everybody's
the F-bomb in it.
It had the
Phil.
F-bomb in about 83 times. Yeah, everybody's swinging and trucking, and everybody's dancing, and, you know. So, and as they say, that was when saying that word meant something back in '73. You know. So
it had some impact.
And we had a letter from Jim Fogelsong, head of Dot Records, saying, I remember it started, "Gentlemen, we have a serious problem." And that signaled pretty much. They pretty much ran out of town on a virtual rail, you know, tarred and feathered. Well,
Everybody's doing it now.
stop on the F minor, a G. Now back in time. Sleepwalk.
Wow.
Nice. I'm also kind of light on my feet. I do clinics and I teach at camps, and I love that. I love the teaching aspect of it. So it isn't all just one-nighters on the road, although that's the majority of what I do. I don't think I can play the next part. So I've been doing that, and so I had a right hand that was good at going bigger, 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 bigger. So I got this record by Johnny Bond and had the song Hot Rod Lincoln. I thought it was just fantastic. It had fake car noises in it. It was kind of a rock and roll song. And I brought it to George, who had made me our commander. He says, "Come on, George, you got to sing this. You know, you can't carry a tune in a bucket here. You all have to talk this thing." So here's how it goes. It's so far so good, except you got to use your little finger twice. I know. Same lick on the fourth.
White Christmas and the Chestnut Song and Jingle Bells put together. Not in sales, but now we ain't seen Daddy in 2 days or more. Tommy's pa said he saw him at the track. Daddy, lay down that bottle. If you hear my prayer, Mommy, and me want you back. Daddy's drinking up our Christmas. There'll be no heart pain New Year. No tree, no stockings, no presents. Just bottles of Christmas cheer. No new Frigidaire for Mama. No iPad for Brother Jim. Daddy's drinking up our Christmas. I don't know what's gonna become of him. Dad got drunk again on Sunday and wrecked the family car. They arrested him and threw him in the tank. We'll get you out Christmas morning if we can raise the bell. Daddy, please don't take another drink. Daddy's drinking up our Christmas. There'll be no happy New Year. No tree, no stockings, no presents. Just bottles of Christmas cheer. No new Frigidaire for Mama. No toy train for Brother Jim. Daddy's drinking up our Christmas. I don't know what's gonna become of him. Daddy's drinking up our Christmas. I don't know what's gonna become of him.
Now, you still put on the cowboy boots, though, don't you?
No, I don't put on cowboy boots.
For the gigs?
No.
Because
why I don't wear cowboy boots? You know how the leather comes way up your leg?
Yeah.
Well, almost none of the stages I play have snakes on them. Very few have poisonous snakes. So I thought, I'm going to live it dangerously. I'm going to wear low-cut shoes.
I wake up in the morning, know it's gonna be good. I'll stick out my elbows and they won't bump wood. Bump wood, they don't bump wood. No, they don't bump. They don't bump. They don't bump. Oh.
I remember as a kid sitting in my college dorm room and somebody gave me this record called Hot Licks, Cold Steel, and Trucker's Favorites by Commander Cody and the Lost Planet Airmen. And I was, I was like, whoa, I mean, I didn't even know there were truck driving songs. And suddenly I became obsessed. What is this genre of trucking songs and how did you discover?
You know, it just somehow resonated with me. I liked the sound of them, and I really hadn't been on the road that much, so I can't explain it. But for some reason, it was like, lead and I will follow.
Oh, let me help you on from the womb to the tomb. From the nurse to the hearse. From the birth to the earth. From the basket to the casket. From the sperm to the worms. Pour me another cup of coffee. You know, Mama hated diesels. So did I. Thank you. Diesel belly music.
I think I'm the last king of Diesel Billy, to tell you the truth. That's my self-crown.
And bless your heart.
King of Diesel
Thank
Billy.
God you're there upholding the mantle of Diesel Billy.
It has. I've noticed it's changed names through the year a few times, and I don't know what to call it either, because that was one of the things we did. There was 8 of us. I think that's one reason we got away with it. We had so much momentum with 8 people. You know, like, we're in the band and you're not. We're just going to do what we love, and you know.
Well, there was
That
an
way too
element,
silly.
a major element of like fun and mischief to
Right.
it too. I mean,
Exactly.
I remember seeing you guys live, and Billy C. Farlow had a guitar and it wasn't plugged in. I mean,
know.
He was like this crazy.
He knew that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was part of the shtick, you know.
That's Bill Kirchen, y'all. Now my old man is a lawyer, and I was gonna be the next in line till I was served a summons from a flashing neon sign. They say I'm supposed to follow, but I'm as stubborn as a mule. And this honky-tonky donkey just won't be nobody's monkey. You'll find me holding court up on this stool. Oh, and at the bar drinking beers, there's a jury of my peers, and they love to deliberate. I'll raise my right hand and I'll swear, goddamn, 'cause I already know my fate. Folks up on the witness stand are playing fiddles and steel guitars. I might have been a lawyer, but I couldn't pass the bar. I might have been a lawyer, but I couldn't pass the bar. Thank you very much, y'all.
Jack. A confessional song from Jack.
You come out with a new record every few years, it seems like, with new stuff on it and fresh blood and interesting people. How do you keep getting the inspiration?
They're working me like a rented mule, Danny. It's so difficult being. It's rough being me. No, I'm kidding. I love the gig. It's fine. You know, you gotta keep putting out records. With the last album we made on Proper Records, the criteria was it had to be someone I'd actually played with, and you had to be not dead yet. That was the other thing. So we adhered to that. It was a strict rule.
This is a duet that I wrote this for Dan Hicks. When I wrote this for Dan, it was called Word to the Wise, and my concept was be nice, that's a word to the wise. And so I sent it to Dan. He goes, yeah, Bill, yeah, I like it, man. But by the time Dan got done with it, it was, shut up, that's a word to the wise. That's my Dan. There we go, Word to the Wise, featuring Maurice and Jack. Now listen up, guys, here's a word to the wise. What you gab ain't too fat, you better get back down to size. Now all of you chicks, according to Dan Hicks, if someone stung when you wag your tongue, we might have just the fix. Well, there's a saying that says you got nothing to say if you can't say nothing real nice. If your words are for the birds, heed with speed on this advice. The crux of the matter lies right here, and I'll summarize. If all you do is criticize, shut up, that's a word to the wise. Maurice. But there's no need to rack your brain, I already figured it out. Well, I've done the math, cleared the path, I know what I'm talking about. Allow me to break it down, you can wrap your head around. If you're into elocution,
Just consider this solution.
somebody asks you what you think,
Don't act like the missing link.
oh, you can't seem to zip your lips.
Just remember this timely tip.
Wise words wasn't ever said,
So keep those good thoughts in your head.
that's a word to the wise, it's a word to the wise.
In the Cody days, either you had a record, we had one hit record, which was a top 10 record, and wasn't even a number one, but it was a top 10. And then we had other, also rans, half a dozen charted, but and that was the only vehicle you had to hear music. There was FM stations that would play album cuts, but not so much. And now there's all the internet radio and XM Sirius and cable channels. It's easier now to have a niche market far flung that can hear what you do. They have access to you now, which is good.
Well, all of a sudden her eyes started knocking down in the dim. She started to rock, and I looked in the mirror. Red light was blue lights were blinging. The cops was after a hot rod lamp. They arrested me, they threw me in jail, they called my pappy to go my bail, and he said, son, you're gonna drive me to drinking if you won't go drive with a hot rod Lincoln. Let's go!
I like my job. I guess I could retire, but then what would I do? Would you like fries with that? Let me practice. Would you like fries with that? Would you like fries?
Well, you got a 4-barrel carb and a dual exhaust. 411 gears, you can really get lost. Safety tubes, but don't be scared. The brakes are good, tires fair.
I think we've created a monster.
Danny's Guitar Shop is brought to you by Old City Publishing. Books, journals, multimedia. Gunner's Run. Good food, good drink, good times. Electric Factory. Nothing beats a show at Electric Factory. North Bowl. Strikingly different. Onion Flats. Sustainable architecture.